What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to finally review the Unico 19-inch monitor that I put in my special criminal investigations arcade cabinet. Is it worth the money? Is it worth the effort? You're going to find out right now. So if you watched my home arcade tour video I did about a month back, you remember I called this monitor out specifically for having a bit of a brightness issue. That's to put it mildly. The brightness was turned up to 11. All the colors were washed out. I really couldn't see what was going on the screen. But I had so much going on at the time, crazy taxi. I thought that I would just put this aside and come back to it later. And in my research, I found that Facebook had the answer. And the answer that Facebook had was to add resistors on your red, green, and blue wires on your video cable. 330 ohm resistors to be precise. So what I did, I just sort of tested it. I wired nutted them on together, made a difference. I wasn't sure about that because I'm using one of these cards here to convert that to a VGA signal. And just as a side note, if you're going to use one of these cards you can find on Amazon, make sure you get the one that only has one VGA connector, not two. That tends to give you a lot of disturbance or distortion. So you want to make sure you just go with the one. Once I saw that it worked, I went ahead and soldered everything in and finished it up with some heat shrink tubing to make it look all professional, whatnot, and works great. Now, no, you can't just buy 2 or 5. You have to buy 100. Yeah, I had to buy a box of 100, but it was less than $10 on Amazon. And if I ever buy more monitors, and if Unico never fixes the problem, I'm covered. And the result is pretty good. It's not an IPS display by any stretch of the imagination. You're not going to get those good deep blacks that you would with a higher quality monitor. This is definitely something that reminds me of the TN monitors that we got with those original Arcade 1-Up first and second generation cabinets. Now I'm going to insert a shot without the glass so you can see the monitor and the viewing angles. You can see that if you go to the far right, it's going to wash out a lot. Over to the left, it's not so bad. Also, the way that I mounted this, I went right to the board that takes the place of the old CRT monitor, and this cardboard bezel is supposed to go right up next to the glass. But I didn't like the way that created this big gap between the two, so I decided to put it on the LCD and then add some 1-inch foam spacers all the way around. That does a couple things for me. It covers up the silver bezel itself, and it also adds a little bit of depth to the monitor. It's not going to replace a CRT, but for me, it does the trick. All right, so with all that being said, is this worth putting in your arcade cabinet? Well, I think if you've got an old CRT with a lot of burn in, you have to source a totally different tube, you could easily go north of $300 trying to make that purchase. But this is $199, so I mean, 200 is less than 300. But at 19 inches, Unico is not the only game in town. And I think you would probably be wise to go ahead and shop around. Now, of course, better quality monitors at the 4:3 aspect ratio are going to be expensive. Could even be more expensive than that CRT replacement. But Unico has told me that they do have a better panel en route. They're going through some testing right now. And as soon as that new panel is available, they're going to send it to me so that I can do some comparison. That means that you hopefully, fingers crossed, you can get a better panel at the same price. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the channel, everybody. Good luck with your LCD CRT decision. Hopefully, this in some way helps you out. Once again, thank you so much for stopping by, checking out the channel. You have a blessed day, and I'll see all of you next time. You ever played this game? When you get to the end and you beat the helicopter and you think you're done, the last level is just a speed race. You got to hurry up and get to this building that's about to explode. And if you don't get there in time, it's it. The game's over. It's really frustrating. So I'm gonna take a break from this thing. I'm just gonna go back to Alien versus Predator.